guys, it's Tiffany with Spot on Spirit, psychic, Reiki master, and spirit medium. Thank you for tuning in to this truly insightful video. Keep it rockin' because Todd Gorny of KTBG Radio will be giving us a brief overview of the Zodiac sign. Don't go anywhere because JOHN DIVON, aka The Foundation, aka my boyfriend, will be reading an in-depth synopsis of my favorite sign from Linda Goodman's Sun Sign Astrology book. Remember, be original and be you. Beeboobopboo.
Hello, this is Todd Gorny from KTBG Radio, coming at you live 24/7. Keep it rocking, booyah, and my newest one, boom! I want to thank people for listening, and I'm doing the horoscopes from 1 through 12, all the way, all the months. So thank you for listening, and enjoy. Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. Symbol, the twins. Ruling planet, Mercury. House ruled, 3rd. Element, air. Mode, mutable. Keyword, communicate. Gemini is the sign associated with communication, logical thought processes based on duality and the conscious mind. Gemini people tend to be airy and intellectual, glib of tongue, and curious about life and other people. They can experience two sides of things at the same time and may tend to be flighty. Thank you for listening, and if you like what you hear, please share. Hey, this is a special shout out to Philip Daro, who's in a band called Pompous. My thanks to him, and please listen to the band Pompous. PMA, remember those 3 letters because they're important to your life. PMA. Positive mental attitude. If you don't have that, you're missing out on life. Thank you.
And be you. Beeboobopboo.
How to recognize Gemini. If there are times when a Gemini person makes you think you're seeing double, don't run out and change your glasses. Just remember that Gemini is the sign of the twins, and there are 2 distinct sides to his changeable personality. Now you see it. Now you don't. Was it love you thought you caught fleetingly on those mobile features? Hate? Ecstasy? Intelligence? Idealism? Sorrow? Joy? The mercurial changes of a Gemini's expression are as fascinating to watch as the psychedelic lights in a discotheque. It's hard to tell where reality ends and illusion begins. They blend. Then they separate. Knowing where to look for this versatile creature requires a little forethought. He may be one place today and somewhere else tomorrow. Suddenly, too. A Gemini can change his clothes, his job, his love life, or his residence as fast as he changes his mind. And that's pretty fast. Finding a good example to study may keep you hoping. You could try a bookstore. He's a browser, because he can get to the gist of the contents in a brief scanning of the pages. It's no accident that John F. Kennedy was a speed reader. Mercury people also have that nasty habit of reading the last page first. If you know a Gemini who has ever read a book from beginning to end without getting bored halfway through, send him to the Smithsonian as a curio, or check his natal chart to see if he has Taurus, Capricorn, or one of those more persistent signs on the ascendant. Geminis like to skip back and forth in a book, a pattern of action they also prefer when it comes to things other than reading. You're sure to find a Gemini or two skimming through the halls and matching wits with people in a radio station, a public relations firm, a publishing house, a telephone answering service, an auto showroom, or an advertising agency. If you can catch one between appointments, when you've found this quicksilver person, study him carefully. Even if you do get exhausted following him around, the first thing you'll notice is a nervous energy that fairly snaps, crackles, and pops in the air around him. If he has a Scorpio, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn moon, he may not vibrate with so much obvious crackle, but the snap and pop are latent, and you'll sense their presence under the influence of the other planetary positions. An occasional Gemini will speak slowly, but most of them talk fast. All of them listen fast. Man or woman, Gemini is impatient with conservative stick-in-the-muds, or with people who can't make up their minds where they stand on particular issues. Gemini knows where he stands, at least for the moment. Unless there's a conflicting ascendant, the Gemini build is generally slender, agile, and taller than average. Many of them have small, sharp features, as if they were cut in a cameo. You'll find some with brown eyes, of course, but the majority of those ruled by Mercury will have beautiful, crystal clear hazel, blue, green, or gray eyes that twinkle and dart here and there. Geminis never rest their eyes on one object for more than a few seconds. In fact, their alert, quick-moving eyes are often the easiest way to recognize them. The complexion tends to be rather pale, yet they usually tan easily, and that's the way to spot them in the summer. In the winter, they often have windburns from swooping down a ski slope. There's an eagerness about Geminis, an immediate, sympathetic friendliness, and unusually quick, but graceful movements. The hair can be light or dark, or both, like streaked. Twins, remember? The nose is likely to be long and straight, or dainty. In either case, probably well formed. There's frequently a receding hairline in the men, from all that activity in the brain, perhaps, and both sexes normally have rather high foreheads. It's usually a mistake to try to pin Geminis down to either one place or one idea. It's always a mistake to challenge them to a battle of wits, because they can talk themselves in and out of situations with the greatest ease. They think fast on their feet, or in any other position. They can be sharply satirical, and they're more clever than almost anybody. Some Mercury people take a mischievous delight in disconcerting slower minds with their lightning-fast mental processes. How would you like to get into an argument with Gemini Bob Hope? A June person will sometimes appear to light near you, like an inquisitive bird. Survey the scene with excited curiosity, then dart off in a different direction almost before you can say hello. I often join a Gemini friend in Lindy's for cheesecake and some casual conversation. He's 35 to 40 years old, but he looks like a college student, which is typical of Gemini's ageless appearance. For a while we'll talk pleasantly, interrupting each other and easily bouncing from one topic to another. Then I'll search in my purse for a compact or a pencil, look up, and Like some disappearing artist in a magic act, my Gemini friend has vanished into thin air, taking the check with him. The more unevolved types use this agility to leave you with the check. When he pulls one of those fast dissolves, I glance around the room anxiously, and suddenly there he is, making a phone call or waving to me gaily as he skips out the door to who knows where. This particular Gemini was recently engaged to a wonderful Aquarian girl. If anyone can cope with an elusive Gemini, it's an Aquarian. And a week before the wedding, 5 would get you 20 anywhere on Broadway that he would find a way to slip out of the noose. That somehow he wouldn't make it to the church on time. But he did. Geminis can surprise you, especially when they're in love. One of my favorite Geminians is a Mercury woman who typically runs Bells Limited, a New York answering service. The play, The Bells Are Ringing, was based on her life, possibly due to being glued to the telephone 24 hours a day. She's not quite as light on her feet as she was when she used to brighten Billy Rose's chorus line. You couldn't call her agile, since she seldom gets a chance to leave her switchboard, but still, she gives the impression of flying around, even when she's immobile. Like most Gemini females, she has an extremely pretty, interesting face, with intelligence stamped on every feature, and her quick Mercury hands flutter in the air like lively birds. Using more charm and wit than the law allows, she cheerfully solves everyone's problems in the twinkling of one of her clear blue eyes. I've watched this woman find a babysitter and a pair of gerbils for a customer, make out a grocery list, write 32 checks, one of her favorite occupations, phone a Broadway producer on a yacht in the Caribbean, send 9 telegrams, fold the family laundry, figure the week's working schedule for her operators, find her husband's blue tie, write down the directions for the shop where he could pick up some tropical fish for their son, snap 4 Polaroid pictures of the dog, open and read her monthly bills, then absently file them in the wastebasket, help a casting office locate an actress who speaks 6 languages, and give 12 clients a wake-up call, all in the space of little over an hour without leaving her swivel chair. Go top that. The secret is in the Geminian duality. They can do 2 things at once with less effort than it takes most of us to do one. Mercury women often iron, feed the baby, and talk on the phone at the same time. Some people swear that all Geminis were born with a phone in each hand. Any kind of routine can make the typical Geminian feel like a droopy bird in a cage with his wings clipped. These people resent drudgery and monotony almost fiercely. Usually they aren't the most punctual souls in the world, unless they happen to have a Virgo ascendant, in which case they become a human alarm clock. The typical Gemini, however, always arrives late, not because he forgets the time, but because something caught his interest on the way and sidetracked him. The restless mercurial nature demands constant excitement and change, or the spirit becomes dejected and morose. If you have a Mercury friend, you've probably already experienced a common Gemini habit that can be so annoying it can give you ulcers. He'll suggest some activity to you, like dropping over to his apartment. It will seldom be a house, too permanent. Catching an old Humphrey Bogart film with an hour gang comedy. Double feature naturally, he doesn't play singles. Driving out to a miniature golf range to practice a little putting, or stopping in Jack Dempsey's for a few Bloody Marys. You're tired and you're on your way home. You thank him anyway, but ask for a rain check. The Gemini argues with you, convincingly. He turns on those baby blues, or greens, or browns, and weaves a cocoon of charm around you. He talks so fast and his smile is so persuasive that after a while you give in. You'll go. He has a few errands to run, so he says he'll meet you on the corner in about an hour. That you didn't expect. So you start to back out, but he turns on his technique again, and you finally agree to meet him. It's a real drag killing the hour. And besides, your feet hurt, but you manage to do it, and you show up on the corner at the appointed time. Good old Jim is a half hour late, and a little out of breath when he gets there. Guess what? He changed his mind.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Jay Fratt of the Conservative Hippie Podcast. I just wanted to give you a quick breather. While in just a moment, we're going to get you back to the smooth audio recording from JOHN DIVON, reading about the best zodiac sign of the bunch, your zodiac sign, from Linda Goodman's Sun Sign Astrology book. It's crazy to find all these unique areas that relate to you and your sun sign. Please take a moment when you finish listening to leave a comment with a few traits you identify with your zodiac sign. And if you like what you're hearing, subscribe, like, and share. JOHN DIVON has also been featured reading some of the zodiac signs for Stoner Horoscopes at stonerhoroscopes.com. They're uploaded at the beginning of each month for all 12 of the zodiac signs. And yep, they even make it into a podcast, available on iTunes and Google Play. I would like to take a moment to thank him for his friendship and time that he invests to share all the rich goodness with you fine people. I would also like to thank him for joining me on the Conservative Hippie Podcast. John has been a guest twice on the Conservative Hippie Podcast. You can find those episodes on iTunes, Google Play, and at theconservativehippie.com. Well, thanks again for listening, and I hope to see or hear from you. I want to finish my brief intermission with a shout out to Todd Gorny of KTBG Radio, Tiffany, the Reiki Master Psychic Medium found at Spot On Spirit, and the one and only Adora Zen, writer of Stoner Horoscopes, found on Twitter at Adora Zen. Always remember to be original, be you, Beeboobopboo. And now back to your listening pleasure. Enjoy.
He talks so fast and his smile is so persuasive that after a while you give in. You'll go. He has a few errands to run, so he says he'll meet you on the corner in about an hour. That you didn't expect. So you start to back out, but he turns on his technique again, and you finally agree to meet him. It's a real drag killing the hour. And besides, your feet hurt, but you manage to do it, and you show up on the corner at the appointed time. Good old Jim is a half hour late, and a little out of breath when he gets there. Guess what? He changed his mind. He's really beat. He's decided to call it a day, hit the sack, and make the scene tomorrow night. You don't mind, do you? Only a Gemini could avoid a sock in the jaw at that point, but he does. You forgave him, and what's really ridiculous is that you'll actually meet him the next night, like you had good sense or something. You've only yourself to blame for succumbing to the irresistible Gemini sales pitch. If you get stood up again the following evening, you have it coming. It serves you right for letting him sweet-talk you. There's a deep-seated need in all June people to disguise their true motives. Like the Pisces, they feel a compulsion to behave in a way exactly opposite to their real desires. But this amazing Gemini versatility and faculty of speech makes them terrific politicians, not to mention experts in the field of human relationships. A Gemini knows how to swerve you from your most stubbornly held convictions. He can twist you like a pretzel with his mental karate, get you to agree with him and love him for doing it to you. But if trouble develops, he knows instinctively just where the skeletons are buried in your closet, and he can use his fast mind and clever tongue to rattle those bones dangerously. There's a strange thing about Geminis in writing. The sun sign itself rules writing. Therefore, practically every Mercury man or woman can turn a clever phrase and string words together intelligently. You'll find whole slews of them writing speeches, commercials, documentaries, plays, and books. But the books will be novels, textbooks, nonfiction, or biographies. Very seldom will you find the Geminian writing his own life story, and it's extremely rare to find one who likes to write personal letters. The typical Gemini hates to answer correspondence. He'll procrastinate for weeks. It may be contradictory at first, but the reason is clear. When you realize the reluctance of Mercury people to be pinned down to an opinion, they hesitate to put their thought on paper because they instinctively know that what they believe today, they may not believe tomorrow. And they don't want to be committed in writing. Few Geminis need to be warned by their attorneys to say it, don't write it. They were born with that defense mechanism. There are an astonishing number of Gemini authors who choose to use a pseudonym, and even the average Geminian will eventually find some reason to adopt an alias, either a complete change, a different spelling, or at the very least, a nickname. The rule is so consistent, you can win a nice nest egg betting on it with all the Geminis you know. Almost every Gemini speaks, understands, or reads more than one language, and French is the favorite. One way or another, the Gemini will triumph with words. He cut his teeth on Webster's Unabridged. He can sell ice cubes to an Eskimo, or dreams to a pessimist. If you happen to catch him in some dodge, he can change the subject so fast and direct the conversation away from himself so adroitly that the whole affair ends with you on the carpet instead of him. Sometimes the Mercury tendency to fool people can lead to dishonesty or criminal activity, but not as often as you've been led to believe. Although his talents can tempt an occasional Gemini to live in a web of lies and deception, most of them are too idealistic for a life of crime. Still, it must be admitted, Mercury gives them superior equipment for success in that field, and they can be brilliant con artists if they choose. With their manual dexterity, if they pick a pocket, forge a check, or counterfeit a sawbuck, at least they're neat about it and seldom get caught. If you come across a smooth-talking used car salesman who was born in June, and he tells you the blue Studebaker had just one former owner, a little old lady who drove it only to church every Sunday morning, you'd be wise to ask the name of the church and check with the little old lady, unless she's a Gemini too. But seriously, unless the afflictions and planetary positions in the natal chart are marked, the majority of Geminis are honest, and some of them are even painfully honest to a fault. They seem to go from one extreme to another, yet they all, petty thief, con man, and upstanding citizen alike, will be unable to resist putting a light coat of varnish on a story at times. Of course, that's not lying, that's imagination. As promoters, all Mercury people are absolutely superb. They have no equal, not even Aries. The promotions can be strictly above board, but few people are strong enough to outlast the combination of charm and sharp intellect Gemini dishes out, and that alone may be taking unfair advantage. When a Gemini tackles a worthwhile project to sell something mankind deeply needs and wants, the angels smile on him. Those born under this sun sign for many great and lasting improvements which have benefited all of us. At heart, every Mercury-ruled person is a salesman, even the Gemini Jesuit priests and Protestant missionaries. Take two entirely divergent examples which prove it. Gemini John F. Kennedy sold the whole world a shining ideal, and Gemini Michael Todd sold Broadway a dream or two, each in his own way a Mercury child. Both the world and Broadway are notoriously jaded and hard to sell. Geminis need to rest their busy brains with twice as much sleep as anyone else. Unfortunately, since they're so susceptible to insomnia, they rarely get enough. Nevertheless, they should try hard to achieve rest and more rest, to heal those jangled nerves and renew the overactive brain cells, because nervous exhaustion is a constant threat. Gobs of fresh, unpolluted air and barrels of bright sunshine are also necessities to keep them out of hospitals. A lack of any of these, plus suppression of activity, can make Gemini susceptible to accidents and infections involving the shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers. The lungs may be weak, also the intestines, problems involving the feet, back, elimination, arthritis, and migraine headaches are always a possibility for the Mercury people who neglect their health. The odd thing is that the Gemini can suffer an emotional breakdown more easily from boredom and confinement than from overactivity. Deep inside his searching, impatient nature, the Gemini seeks an ideal, and his chief problem is in recognizing what it is. It could be anything, since his imagination knows no boundaries. Money, fame, wealth, love, and career are never quite enough. Mercury calls Gemini higher and higher, on and on, above and beyond, with a seductive promise of something always just a little better. The grass always looks greener just across the road. The sky is bluer over another ocean. The stars shine brighter in a different place. What is it he seeks? Perhaps some hidden, undiscovered continent within himself. Gemini is the mental explorer. His eyes are sharp, and his talents are multiple. He has a brilliant humor, tact, diplomacy, and adroitness. Yet he lacks persistence and patience. He throws away the precious old too quickly for the untried new, then lives to regret the instant disposal. In spite of all the people around him, he shares his deepest emotions only with his one constant companion, his other twin self. The air is his element and his real home. He's a stranger to earth. Gemini can charm a bird right out of its tree and give it 5 new songs to sing. But the restless, mercurial mind can too easily overlook the bluebird of happiness, waiting wistfully year after year in his own backyard. He wears clear yellows greens and blues, silver and gray, and his moods reflect his glittering aquamarine jewel. He has the light touch echoed in the delicate fragrance of the lily of the valley, and he has breathed the fresh promise of the greenest ferns in the deepest part of the forest. But the cold metal of Mercury divides Gemini with twin desires until he stops and waits and listens to his own heart beat.
Well, you're just going out and doing things. A lot of people have ideas, but that's where it stops.
I do enjoy executing ideas.
They're always the ones that say, I had that idea, I wanted to do that, I had that idea. An idea is nothing. An idea is the easiest part. It's the execution of the idea that's so hard, in my opinion.
Right.
It really is. You know, and then when you're around other creative people and they have an idea, it's so wonderful to say, that's a great idea. I've got that in my pocket.
It's hard to complete them. It's sometimes like reading a really good book.
Yeah.
You get into a really good book, you kind of don't want to read it. You don't want it to be over. It's hard to finish. You know, like you start off ideas and then once you finish it, it's over. But you need to know that there's more ideas, so you need to finish it and get to your next great idea.
Be original and be you. Beeboobopboo.
Beeboobopboo. Bye bye mess. Redefining mealtime, one bowl at a time. As a mother of 3 children, I can't count how many times dinner ended up on the floor, the wall, in the other's hair, on my face. You get the picture. With the Beeboobopboo suction bowl, each child gets their own color and dinner stays at the table. I hope you and your family enjoy this suction bowl as much as I do. With love, Beeboobopboo. Product features: Stay Put Suction. The silicone-based suctions to any surface without leaving a mark. The easy design makes cleaning simple. Compartments. With modular compartments, the bowl is perfect for on-the-go meals and build your own snacks. Seal-to-snap lid. The airtight lid seals with a snap and keeps food fresh and eliminates spills. Reviews. Love the quality and sturdiness of these bowls. As a mom of 2 girls, these help me to minimize accidents and to streamline our snack packing for trips. The packaging and presentation was also adorable. Thank you. This is a fantastic product. My son is 7 months old, and we're in that stage where he wants to grab everything. When we use this bowl, it's so much less messy. It sticks until you want it gone. I only got one, but I need more. I use it for my son who has motor skill issues. He is able to eat with one hand, but has issues using the other to hold the bowl in place. This suction bowl allows him with just one hand to eat independently. Contact information. Get in touch with us at admin@beeboobopboo.com. We love to hear your stories. Beeboobopboo. Cleaning up after your little ones can make mealtime stressful. With a stay-put suction base and a snap-to-seal lid, Beeboobopboo bowls work to keep dinner on the table so you don't have to.